A second case is new business zoning public hearing, ZBA 20-08. Applicant is Lexington Homes, represented by Nate Wimsma, Vice President, address at 1731 North Marcy Street, Suite 200, Chicago, Illinois, 60614. And the applicant is seeking 3 approvals. One for a map amendment to rezone the property from R1 single family to R2 general residential district. The second request is for a special use for a planned unit development. And the third request is for a preliminary plat of subdivision and preliminary engineering approval. All 3 of these requests will be heard under a single public hearing. So therefore, I would like, please, a motion to open the public hearing on application number ZBA 20-08.
Also move. This is Commissioner Sayward.
I'll second.
Okay.
Commissioner DeGraff.
And roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Kempa,
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff,
Aye.
Commissioner Sayward,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon,
Aye.
Commissioner Taman, Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
and Chairman Dash.
Aye. Okay, so now that the public hearing is open, I need to state for the record and address the applicant to let you know that I am employed by D.R. Horton, which is also a national home builder here. I'm officed in Vernon Hills, and I wanted to I need you to acknowledge the fact that you recognize that I am employed by D.R. Horton, and that you are comfortable with me continuing in my role as chairman over this case.
Yes, we are.
Okay. And one other statement from another commissioner, Bruce. Oh, okay. 1 second, please.
Yeah, good evening. This is Bruce Mellon.
Okay, it's on. Sorry.
I'm sorry, this is Bruce Mellon. I am also employed by D.R. Horton, and I just want to request from the applicant the acknowledgement that I work for D.R. Horton Home Builder here in the Chicago area, and make sure that you are also comfortable with me sitting in the testimony.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. So, let's go ahead and get Director Peterson's comments.
Yes. Thank you very much, Chairman Dash, Commissioners, Lexington team, and the public. Tonight before us, Lexington Homes is the contract purchaser for the property known as 1001 Oak Avenue up in the north end of the city of Prospect Heights. They have before us tonight 2 proposals that they're seeking. One is for a 69-unit townhome subdivision, which contemplates some land swapping with the Prospect Heights Park District, which they're in negotiation, and they'll testify to that. And the second alternative would be for a 61, which only incorporates the 5.23 acres of which they control now without consideration of the Park District. So as we go through this tonight, the testimony will be provided to that effect. So we can at least go forward and have at the end a decision on those options. So if they know which direction to go. For the record, the applicant has met the submission dates and the publication notices as required by the City of Prospect Heights zoning ordinance, and have provided affidavits of service of notification and the required receipts and green cards. That being said, this is an extensive application and has been reviewed by the city engineer, the police department, the fire district, and city staff. And my staff report and the engineer's report are provided for the record. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Director Peterson. Okay, so as we did with the last case, we're going to go ahead and let the applicant present this evening. And after their presentation, Dan, did you have any in writing submittals?
Yes, we had over approximately 27 written responses, written letters.
So do those need to be read into the record?
There's a couple of ways we could do this, especially if they're on the phone. I could read them, and then those people who have submitted their request to speak can speak to the testimony that's provided tonight, so we can hopefully save some time, or we can just let each of those that we can record the names, addresses, that they had a letter of opposition, and then just let them provide public testimony. That's the will of the chair.
Okay, so I think after we hear the applicant's presentation, then we'll just, we'll go through the list of who submitted and we'll let them present first. And then if there is, again, depending on how much time we have, if there are people then who haven't spoke, who have submitted items in writing, we'll go ahead and enter their names and addresses in for the record and state that they are either in support or in opposition of the project. And then we'll take comments from those folks who may just be on the call this evening. So, okay, then I'd like to turn it over to our applicant so they can present their case this evening.
Chairman Dash, I'm Tom Burney. I'm the old guy sitting kind of in the front on your right. Thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm representing Lexington Homes on this matter. I just
Tom,
yeah.
I'd like to do then, it seems like you have a team of people there. How about you all raise your hands and I can swear you in together. And then when you do speak, you just need to present your name and address for the record.
Perfect. We have two other people who are remote. Would you like them to also come on and swear, or do you want to wait until we call them?
We'll wait until we call them because I can see all of you folks there.
Fine. Thank you.
Okay. You'll be given this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, so then when you folks present, all you'll need to do now is just please state your name and address for the record.
We'll start again. My name's Tom Burney. I'm the attorney for Lexington Homes. Dan accurately described the legal notices that went out here. In addition to that, Lexington Homes hosted a neighborhood meeting 2 nights ago, Tuesday night. We sent out a regular mail notice. I'd say we had 55 to 65 people. I'm not great at estimating crowds, but there was a lot of interest. We also provided additional notice to them in that mailing about how to join this Zoom meeting. So hopefully everybody's satisfied that they got notice. As Dan said, we have 2 alternative plans. The 69 unit plan is dependent upon us reaching an agreement with the Park District. We're working diligently on that. It involves a swap of some land. It involves a substantial contribution to the Park District, and it involves a redo, a reconversion of the park land to modernize it and make it more useful to the community. But we understand that negotiations with other governments, sometimes they just don't follow through. And that's why we're also asking you to consider the 61 unit plan. We believe that the evidence that we're going to present tonight satisfies your standards for either the 69 unit plan or the 61 unit plan. We will have 4 presenters tonight besides myself. Nate Weinsma, he's the vice president. Louie Abuna, a professional traffic engineer. Todd Schaefer, our civil engineer from Hager. Sharon Dixon, our professional landscape architect. And we have in the wings Jeremy Lynn, who is a water system professional who can speak to any questions you might have on that. I believe that your style is to allow us to finish our entire presentation and then to field questions, and that's what we're expecting to do. We think this presentation will take about 25 minutes. We're asking you to positively recommend to the city council the map amendment from R1 to R2 with a special use for a planned development to permit either the 69 unit plan or the 61 unit plan. The standards we're called upon to address are found in your plan development standards, your map amendment standards, and your special use standards. We have submitted to the city a detailed narrative which addresses each and every one of those standards, and we'd ask the chairperson to admit those into the record, and they are part of the evidence that we are submitting towards satisfying each and every one of those standards. So we'd ask that they be incorporated into the record. What I want to do is to orient you and the people who are part of this conversation to the property, discuss the surrounding land uses, discuss the general consistency with the comprehensive plan. The property is comprised of 2 parcels. The north parcel, the old school parcel, is 5.2 acres, and it's improved with an abandoned school. The south parcel is Mirror Park, a 4.5 acre parcel owned by the Park District. Slide 5, if you could go to that, sir. 2, that's, what's that, 3, 4, the next slide, please. There you go, thank you, sir. That orients you to the subject property in the context of this. Oh no, 1 back, please. No, back.
Page 5. Slide 5 or page 5.
One more.
There we go.
Perfect, thank you very much. And I just want to say this is the first time I've ever done a Zoom meeting in my life. I've been doing these kind of hearings for 43 years, so if I stumble a little bit, I hope you'll be sympathetic to me. So the parcels are shown in white on that exhibit. This parcel is unique. It's surrounded by the village of Wheeling on 3 sides, to the east, to the west, and to the south. Prospect Heights lies to the north. This property along the Mirror Park is a notch in what is otherwise an area of Wheeling. We believe that when you study the surrounding land uses, that you see that this property is a transitional piece. You starting from Elmhurst Road, you have a very high dense multiple family development in Wheeling. Moving further to the east from that development is the multiple family development that's immediately adjacent along our west border. There is a single family subdivision in Wheeling that lies to our east, but if you look to the south and east of that development is the mirror image of another high density multiple family development that exists in the area. What we're proposing, and Nate's going to go into it in a lot of detail, is a townhouse development, a very high quality townhouse development, which is traditionally in all the communities in the north suburbs has been a transitional use from multiple family higher density to the single family that we find in this instance. The density that we're proposing is significantly less than those developments west of the property and east of Pheasant Run Park. The last issue that I'd like to address is the consistency with the comprehensive plan, and I'd ask you, sir, to move to the next slide. And thank you, sir. And you can see that the subject property is recommended for residential development. Your comprehensive plan doesn't distinguish between attached and detached residential development, but your text, the text of your comprehensive plan has many statements and objectives and visions which support what we are proposing to do here. It talks about diversifying its housing stock and the type of housing. It talks about the addition of new housing stock on a property that lies vacant and undeveloped and tax exempt. And I'm really referring to this property. We feel that this property fits that objective and that it's undeveloped, it's tax exempt, it's not contributing to the tax base of any government bodies, and that therefore it is serving of no benefit to the general welfare. There are significant benefits to the city as a whole with the planned cooperation between Lexington and the Prospect Heights Park District. The planned development vehicle guarantees that the city and the developer will build what it is represented. It will build in conformance with the plan it is presented. The net impact of the proposed development will be a benefit to the entire community. In addition, the comprehensive plan talks about residential development in the city has been stunted by a combination of an absence of vacant developable land and the absence of a public water supply. And this property, as you will hear later, is seriously challenged because there is no water supply to provide water to it. I would point out, and we learned this in inquiring of your staff, the last residential subdivision approved in the city was in 2005. That's identified as the Orchards of Anne. The last attached single-family product that was approved goes all the way back to the 20th century when the villas of Rob Roy were approved in 95 and 96. And you all know that in that period of time, the villages of Wheeling, Glenview, and Arlington Heights have enjoyed considerable growth and development. We believe that this property and this plan allows you to achieve one of the stated objectives in your comprehensive plan. And finally, the proposed use is consistent with the objective found in the plan to identify parcels that can be assembled for development to encourage right-sized development, including retail, mixed-use, office, multifamily, or senior housing. We suggest that what we're proposing to do here is consistent with the objectives that have been laid out in your comprehensive plan. And that's why after you've heard our evidence and testimony, after we've answered your questions, after we've heard from the residents and answered their questions, we respectfully request that you positively recommend to your city council approval of the relief. I'm going to turn it over to Nate, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. If you could forward 2 slides, please, to sheet 8. My name is Nate Weinsma. I'm the Vice President of Lexington Homes, 1731 North Marcy Street, Chicago, Illinois. I think a lot of people on the conference tonight, and many of you on the commission, I think Chairman Dash and the commissioners for allowing us to come before you tonight and present what a plan we're excited about. Lexington Homes has a long history in Chicago. We have a long history here in Prospect Heights and many of the surrounding communities. Our company dates back into the 1970s, and it's been reconstituted, I guess is the way I would put it, as Lexington Homes. Currently, our predecessor company to Lexington for a period of time through the 90s and early 2000s was Concord Homes, which a lot of people are probably familiar with as well. We have built more than 40,000 homes throughout Chicagoland. In Prospect Heights, Lexington is best known for being the original developer of Rob Roy and subsequently the villas of Rob Roy. So we have, over the years, built 3 different phases of Rob Roy in this community. And then, as I said, surrounding communities of Wheeling, Arlington Heights, Glenview, several communities over the years. If you could advance to the next slide, please. The primary plan we are presenting, as Tom said, is 69 townhome units. It includes of what Tom described as an exchange of land or a swap of land with the Park District. So what you're looking at is an overall boundary of property that includes both the JFH Academy parcel and Muir Park to the south. To the east of Muir Park is Pleasant Run Park, which is part of Wheeling. And then west of us, as Tom pointed out, we have apartments, condominiums, both owner and renter occupied. To the east of Pleasant Run Park is a continuation of the same type of apartment product that was built along Route 83. And a portion of Pleasant Run Drive also feeds into Equestrian Drive to our south. The access to our property is Oak Avenue off of Drake Terrace. That is the current location of the access point to the existing school and to the park district, to the ball fields and to the parking lot to the south of the school. We are proposing, as I said, 69 townhomes. The entire parcel of the two combined is 9.72 acres. It includes about, no, I don't want to get to that yet. It includes about 64.2 acres of open space, which incorporates the park, as I said. The park, we felt in this combined plan is such an integral part of the subject property that we incorporated into the name of the development, the reserves at Muir Park. I think the identity of our community is going to go hand in hand with Muir Park because of our shared access point and our contiguity to each other. This particular type of land plan, type of product plan design is similar to many of our other communities, our current and very similar to current communities we are in development on, in Des Plaines, Morton Grove, Arlington Heights, and Oak Park. Each of these communities includes very similar townhomes to what we're proposing here, in very similar configurations to what we're land planning here. Specific to this plan, as you'll see coming in off Oak Avenue, we have provided an area for a pump house, a well facility that would be the water source for the community. That facility would be a structure that architecturally would be designed to match the townhomes. It would provide for underground wells, a reservoir or reserve for fire suppression. In the building itself would encompass the equipment needed for the water system, including pumps and filtration to treat the water. The distribution and provision for fire hydrants and things like that are going to be very similar to any other community you would see. The alternative plan, some of the details of what I just kind of ran through on some of the numbers are on the next slide. As I said, the whole site is 9.72 acres, 69 units for a net density of 13.2, 64.2% open space outside of net of buildings and paved area, including parking. We have roughly a 3-to-1 parking ratio. If you could advance to the next slide, please. This is the alternative plan that our attorney referenced. It is a 61-unit development plan. It does not involve Muir Park, other than the fact that we currently have in place an easement on the JFH property that serves access and parking, access to and parking for Muir Park. So this plan would also include that the same requirements for access to and parking for Muir Park, but would not involve, as Tom referenced, some of the upfront financial benefits or redevelopment of the park that we've offered to do. The statistics on this plan are slightly different in that it only involves the 5.23 acre site, 61 units at a net density of about 11.7 units. The parking ratio again is about 3 parking spaces per unit. If you would advance to 2 slides. This is a front elevation, and the next slide is an example of sides and rear. If you could go back to the front, the previous slide. The product here, as I refer to it, really the townhomes, the homes that we would build What you're looking at is the front of what would be a 4-unit building. The things I wanted to point out here are the range of unit sizes here that we're offering is roughly 1,750 square feet on up to about 2,000 square feet. All units would be 2-car garage, integral to the ground floor. All units would vary from 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom, with 2.5 to 3 bathrooms. They will be, as you can see, kind of traditional, what I would refer to as traditional style architecture, comprised of masonry, low maintenance or no maintenance vinyl, the wood trim and the accents you see, some of the brackets and trim features on the porches and windows. That is what I refer to as, it's a wood product, looks like rough sawn cedar. It's a smart trim, which is, again, a low maintenance or no maintenance trim material. There's a couple of different companies out there that we utilize, but that is would be a painted wood trim material. We expect and will price these at base price, typically in the low 300s, pushing up to the mid 300s. Typically, we see in our buyer demographic right around a 7 to 10% average, what I refer to as our options and upgrades, which include primarily just interior specifications for flooring and countertops and cabinets and upgrades, typical upgrades like that. So our anticipated price points at point of sale would be in the mid 300s. We expect, if we get through this process, that the timing of the development would most likely be begin in 2021 in earnest. We expect to sell out over a 3-year period of time, build out over roughly a 4-year period of time. And that's all dependent upon, of course, the market and our sales pace. As I said, the next slide has examples of side elevations, rear elevations showing the 2-car garages. And with that, as Tom said, we're available to answer any questions and get into more detailed descriptions. But I'd like to turn it over briefly to our traffic engineer, Lue Abuna from KLOA. And if Lue could chime in on his phone now, and you'd need to be sworn in as well.
Are you on, Lue?
Can you hear me?
So do you swear that the testimony you'll be given this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Sure. Good evening. This is Lue Abuna. First name spelled Luay. Last name spelled Aboona. I'm with KLOA. The address is 9575 West Higgins Road in Rosemont, Illinois. If you could go to the next slide, please. Next one. So this aerial shows the location of the site. Nate touched upon that. The site will have its access of Drake Terrace through Oak Avenue. This will allow the traffic to access Elmhurst Road through Drake Terrace and also up through Maple Lane to Hintz Road. As part of the traffic study, we looked at those intersections. We conducted traffic counts during the weekday morning and weekday afternoon peak periods to understand the operations of the intersections. Generated the traffic from the proposed development. We looked at the 69 unit plan to look at the maximum impact. and essentially looked at the operations of these same intersections after the additional traffic that will be generated by the development, as well as assumed growth in background traffic. We carried the traffic projections to 2028 to ensure that we study the impact of this development over a longer term. The results of the traffic study was summarized in the results of the analysis summarized in the traffic study that was submitted to the city and reviewed by your consultant. Some of the conclusions included indicate that the roadway system has sufficient capacity to accommodate the traffic projected by the development. That the traffic that will be generated by the development will not be significant during the peak hours. That the signalized intersections studied in the area, particularly the intersection of Elmhurst and Drake, will continue to operate at acceptable levels of service during the peak hours. The proposed access of Oak Avenue to Drake will be sufficient to accommodate the traffic. We did make a recommendation that the left turn restriction that currently exists at that intersection be removed to allow the traffic to be able to exit the site and turn left and access Elmhurst Road. If you could go to the next slide. One of the key findings of the traffic study is a comparison that we conducted of the trip generation of the proposed townhome development, the 69 units, with the elementary school that existed on this property. And as you can see from this comparison, it's very clear that a school with over 240 children generated significantly more traffic in the morning. Our development during the peak hour in the morning, over a 1 hour period, estimated generate 34 trips in and out. The school, on the other hand, generate 165 trips. So 130 more trips than what we are anticipating with this plan. In the evening peak hour, which is about 5 to 6 p.m., the both development and the school would generate about the same traffic. Not represented in this table is the school's earlier peak, because schools generally let out earlier, around 2:30, 3 o'clock. At that time, that school would have generated significantly more traffic than the townhome development, and therefore would have a greater impact. And then finally, on a daily basis, as you can see here very clearly, that between the two developments, between the development and the school, the traffic is very, very similar. With that, I will turn it over to Todd. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Todd Schaefer. I'm a principal with Hager Engineering. Primary address of our office is 100 East State Parkway, Schaumburg, Illinois, 60173. If you could advance 2 slides, please.
Go ahead.
Do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the first slide that I wanted to talk about briefly is the water main. As was stated previously, there is no public water supply in this area in Prospect Heights. Wheeling does have a water main system adjacent to our site. We did approach Wheeling for a discussion about the feasibility or potential to connecting to their water system, and it was not reviewed favorably. So we are going in with a community well system, which is basically controlled by 2 deep wells that goes into a pump house. And then from that pump house, the water main system throughout the subdivision functions like your normal potable water main loop. Fire hydrants consistent with city code, individual water services per unit. And that's the generalities of the water system. If you could advance to the next slide. The sanitary sewer is part of the Prospect Heights sanitary sewer system. There is a sanitary sewer located parallel with the northerly property line, and then it runs north towards Hinch Road along the easterly portion of the subdivision to the north of us. And so we're doing a conventional gravity sanitary sewer system, individual sewer services per unit, collecting into main lines that then discharge into the existing sanitary sewer system. If you can advance to the next slide. This is the slide about storm sewer and stormwater management. The current site, park and school system, has some unique drainage characteristics. When the Wheeling Park District property was built, they did a coordinated effort with the Prospect Heights Park District, and the eastern portion of the existing Prospect Heights Park District is functioning as a stormwater management basin, which discharges underneath a bike path or a multi-use path into the school site. And from there, water from the school site discharges into the subdivision to the east in two locations. One is an existing 12-inch storm sewer that runs between two lots within that subdivision. And then the second is part of our site drains directly to a 36-inch storm sewer located on the southerly portion of the subdivision to the east. Both of those sewers discharge into the existing stormwater management facilities for the subdivision to the east that then discharge north across Hinch Road. And as part of our system, what we're doing is designing a system that's in conformance with the Prospect Heights Code as well as the MWRD. One of the challenges that we have in this site is that the receiving storm source system is shallow, and we are going to be controlling our discharge via a restrictor that will then be pumped up into the existing 36-inch storm sewer. So as part of our proposal, what we are doing is we are reducing significantly the discharge into the 12-inch storm sewer system, which drains throughout the subdivision to the east, and moving that water with a lower release rate into the 36-inch sewer, so there will not be an increase in discharge rate going downstream. That's the general synopsis of the stormwater management, sanitary sewer, and water main. I'm available for questions later on in the meeting, but at this time, I'll turn it over to Sharon Dixon, landscape architect.
Next slide, please. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Sharon Dixon. I'm a landscape architect with Dixon Design Studio. We are located at 526 Skyline Drive in Algonquin, Illinois. In order to prepare the preliminary landscape plan before you tonight, we conducted a tree survey and tree inventory. The existing trees were evaluated by a certified arborist. This arborist compared existing trees with a like species of specimen quality in order to determine their condition and overall rating, the overall health of the tree. We found that on our site, 234 trees exist, which include a mix of deciduous and evergreen species. Of these 234 trees, 3 are considered a condition rating of very good, 24 are considered a condition rating of good, and the remaining 207 trees have a condition rating of either fair, poor, critical, or dead. We have no oak, sugar maple, nor hickory trees on site. The most prevalent tree on site is the buckthorn, followed by cottonwood, box elder, and mulberry. Most of our on-site trees are clustered in the detention or floodplain in the southeast quadrant of parcels 1 and 2. So within our site and the park site. All the existing trees on site will be removed. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, go back. Apologize. So that in speaking to the landscape plan, which is the slide in front of you tonight, our plan includes a mix of shade, ornamental, and evergreen trees, both deciduous and evergreen, along with shrubs, ornamental grasses, and perennials. The proposed plant material we feel will enhance the overall development and the proposed building architecture. The plant material has been carefully selected and purposely sited. We have buffers to our neighboring residential. And we also take into consideration with plant selections and locations of windows, pedestrian travel, and vehicular visibility for both aesthetics and safety. Our landscape is conducive to our climate zone. It offers multiple seasons of interest. It includes a diversity of plant species, sizes, textures, bloom, and colors. The plants have been selected and will be selected as we move into final landscape plans for quality, long-term sustainability, and desired growth habits. Again, we feel these plants will enhance the overall development and the proposed architecture. The stormwater basin you see at the bottom middle of that slide, located in the center east of our property, is to be shared by the public park site and our private townhome community. This basin will be naturalized with native plantings that will be able to withstand periods of wet and dry times. It will aid in water storage and water purification, and the monitoring and care of this basin will be handled by the development HOA. We do intend to fence along the west property line, screening our parking areas. And we also intend to fence and provide adequate landscape screen for the north and east property borders where our proposed townhomes are located. We will respect existing landscape and fencing of our neighbors. On the south side of the site is the park site. This is the southern portion. We are proposing a flexible programming, whether it would include ball fields, soccer, lacrosse, football, something of the sort, is yet to be determined. The programming will be provided by the Park District, who will also direct us for park usage as we move into final plans. Park design includes a connecting sidewalk to the existing park to our east, and we are also currently looking into a looping connection for that sidewalk. Next slide, please. Our development will have one entry monument. It's located in the southeast corner of the intersection of Drake Terrace and Oak Avenue. This entrance monument measures approximately 15 feet long, 5 feet tall, and a little under 3 feet deep. It consists of brick with limestone caps and double-sided sign panels. The materials on this entrance monument complement architectural style and the brick materials that will be used on the proposed townhomes. Proposed landscape around this sign will accentuate the signage and provide a pleasing and welcoming entrance to the development. Next slide, please. Finally, our foundation landscape. All our homes will have foundation landscape flanking their front and side elevations. In order to provide continuity and cohesion throughout the entire development, each building will receive a similar planting design at its foundation. These planting designs will remain fairly consistent building to building, but actual plant species will vary to provide some difference between the buildings. Each foundation landscape will include a mixture of deciduous and evergreen shrubs, and some will also include perennials. That concludes my presentation. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, sure. Nate, do you want to add something?
Yeah, before I turn it back over to Tom Burney, I wanted to, and this is fine, this landscape slide is fine. I wanted to point out that this community will have a homeowners association and strict declarations and covenants of restrictions that will be reviewed by the city, but the HOA in this case will maintain all common area, including landscape maintenance, which includes the foundation plantings you see on this slide. It will maintain all paved areas, including parking and snow removal of not just the streets and parking areas, but also the sidewalks for the residents. So the HOA will be in place from day one and maintain those areas. I just wanted to kind of point that out and clarify for everybody.
So, Madam Chairperson, that concludes our formal presentation. Again, we'd ask that you include the slides, the testimony, as well as the narrative and your deliberations in terms of determining whether we've satisfied the standards under the city ordinance. Our only other request is that we might be given, Nate and I might be given an opportunity before the close of the public hearing, after we've heard the Plan Commission and neighbors' testimony, to make a few concluding remarks. And we thank you for your attention, and we'll wait your questions.
Okay, so then now that we've heard the presentation, we're going to go ahead and start taking public testimony for roughly 15 minutes, I would say.
Could we advance to 2 slides forward as we discuss the overall project? Thank you.
Great. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the list of people who submitted in writing. We'll see if any of these folks are on, and we're gonna, I guess we'll just start in the order in which they, was it that when they were received? Okay, so they were received. So the first resident comment came from
Ms. Sue DeMuth by phone. I'm not sure if she's on or not. I did email her the agenda with the login information.
Yes, I'm here.
Great, Sue. So do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And then if you could just please state your name and address for the record, then you can go ahead and present.
It's Sue DeMuth. I live at 7 Drake Terrace in Prospect Heights.
Thank you.
My concern is, I mean, I like what has been drawn up. My concern is we live on Drake. And as they cited, all the traffic is going to go right down our street. And we, with the school, they said that the school had had a lot of cars, but it wasn't, it was buses. So I went to that school, so there wasn't that many cars that went down there. So, and my other concern is safety. So what if something happens and that is the only way in and out of that subdivision area? So if there's something that happens that blocks that intersection, there's no other way of getting out of there. So my concern is that.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Sue. I was on mute. Thank you for providing those comments.
The next written response was from Mr. and Mrs. John Albrecht, 606 Equestrian Drive, Wheeling, Illinois.
Yes, we're here.
Great.
Do you swear that the testimony you'll give this evening is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
We do.
Thank you. So if you could just please state your names and address for the record, then you can go ahead.
Janet Albrecht, 606 Equestrian Drive, Wheeling.
And John Albrecht.
Did you folks want to speak with us this evening about your position on this project?
Yes, we would.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we attended the meeting with the builder on Tuesday, and we are very concerned about the impact, the negative impact we feel it will have on the community. We've lived here for 33 years. We back up to Muir Park. I'm a landscape designer. And we're seriously concerned by the first preliminary proposal put forward to build on the open parkland that's frequently used by the community. The removal of all the trees is gravely concerning, especially as part of the wooded area. This park has been designated by Fish and Wildlife Services as wetland to the southeastern part of the park. We also believe that the removal of all the trees would be a huge loss aesthetically to the community, and will also negatively impact already existing floodplain issues. These are my concerns. In addition to the density and traffic impact on the community, if this had to happen, we definitely would much prefer the Plan B, where the Muir Park, existing Muir Park is left, as it is named after Muir Park, a conservationist, and the founder of Sierra Club, and who helped create Yosemite and Sequoia Parks. I mean, I really believe that this pandemic has taught us anything. It's a healing power in nature, and we really should be doing everything to preserve our open land and green spaces. Our other concern, do you want to read this, is that we're really curious as to how the Park District land can be swapped or sold without a referendum to the taxpayers.
I think Jen covered everything.
Great. Thank you for your comments.
The next letter was received from Mr. Paul Gebert, and Mr. Gebert, I can't see his address right now, but he
Is Paul,
1105 Drake Avenue.
Paul at 1105 Drake Avenue, are you on the call this evening?
Yes, I am.
Great. So assuming you'd like to speak to this case, do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Actually, I have questions. Can I ask them now, or do I need to wait till later?
So you can certainly state your concerns in a question format, but at this point, we're going to get through the public comment before we get back to our consultants.
All right. Okay. First question is name 3 ways in how the new development will benefit the immediate surrounding neighborhood. The second question is, per the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service National Wetlands Inventory, 0.66 acres of the property to be developed is PEM1C classified freshwater emergent wetland habitat. And my question is, what authority will grant permission to build on the wetland? Third question, the wetland is in a floodplain. How will the nearby property be impacted, as there will be far less grass and tree surface area available to absorb the water? Flooding is already a problem on Drake Terrace and Drake Avenue. The last question, one was already answered, which was as far as stormwater service, but which village is going to provide the sanitary service? And pertaining to that, would new sewer lines need to be installed or existing lines replaced? And if yes, where?
Great, thank you, Paul. Obviously we're taking note of these questions, as I'm sure the applicant is as well.
Yep. The only last statement I had was, which is from a letter that I wrote to Dan earlier this week, just get quick to the point. Once open land is gone, it pretty much goes forever. You rarely hear about a development being removed and a park put in. It's usually the park, there was a park there and now it's gone. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Gilbert. The next comment came from Ms. Reese, RYS, at 1107 Oak Avenue. Are you on the phone?
Reese is the,
Reese?
is David?
Yeah.
David, last name spelled RYS, at 1107 Oak Avenue. Are you on this evening, David?
Okay, their just general their concerns posted were traffic impact to the neighborhood, and thought the density was too great for the project.
Okay.
The next was Myers, Ms. Myers. Are you on the phone?
Is there Mrs. Myers on the phone? Or, sorry, on the call?
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
Great. Do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. And if you could just please state your name and address for the record?
Mary Jean Meyer, 1101 Oak. Do you want to say something? Okay. Dan has my email and it has all my concerns on it. He's welcome to read that since I don't have a copy in front of me. But there's so many concerns the list would go on forever.
Traffic and losing the park.
Right, I'm,
Is, in order to avoid being redundant, we've already heard about concerns about traffic on Drake. We've heard about a single point of access. We've heard concerns about what the developer may and may not be able to do in the wetlands, density, tree removal, and stormwater management. So again, if there are other topics that have not been brought up, then you can simply say that you concur with, the other folks that have spoke, but if you have
You could add to that. You could add to that the traffic on Prospect.
Prospect.
Everybody won't go down Drake. They'll end up going down Prospect also.
They'll drive through the neighborhood to get out on Hints.
Okay, so traffic on which street?
Through Prospect and Maple to get out on Hints.
Okay, so traffic on Prospect and Maple. Okay. Are there any other, I know Dan is looking for your,
I've got
the email.
the email in front of me, and you stated that specifically, again, it was density, single access road, land, the swap of the park district, and the amount of traffic on the various streets within the neighborhood, and concerns of pedestrian access and walking in the neighborhood, and the traffic.
Right, it's zoned R1 property now, and it leads into an R1 property as its access. It should be the same. You shouldn't have a high density property leading into a lower density property like that.
Okay, anything else to add?
That's all.
Great, thank you.
The next one is Sean Kilkovis. I hope I'm saying that's correctly. And he's at 102 Drake Terrace.
Sean, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Do you, Sean,
We have no sidewalks.
Sean, do you, I just need you to acknowledge, please, that the testimony you'll be giving tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will, yes.
Could you just please state your name and address for the record?
Sean Kilikevich, 102 Drake Terrace.
And Jen, that's spelled K-I-L-I-K-E-V-I-C-E.
Yeah, with a V.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So there's multiple things over what we've heard. So these traffic experts that you have, first of all, I hate to say that, but they do not know what they're talking about. The traffic was not bad when that school was open. What we will see, and anyone in the neighborhood, both on Drake Terrace, but also our neighbors to the, I guess that would be to the north of us, and on those streets behind my home, all the way to Hints Road, know that traffic is going to be flooding their streets also. Our street going out onto Hints Road will be backed up in the morning all the way to Drake Avenue. This I promise you. There are no city sidewalks, as you know, so it's a danger to the community putting 150 cars on morning rush hour and an evening rush hour, these cars flooding in and out of our neighborhood. My neighbor Dale and Darlene live next to me to the towards 83. Their driveway basically is a continuation of Oak. So there no sidewalks. What about all of the water table? All of my neighbors on Drake and all of our neighbors behind us are also on well water. What will the water level drop to from that, 150 or 70 unit thing to our water tables and our wells that are already there and established, people that have lived there their whole lives. So it's mostly traffic safety, that no sidewalks, you got too many cars coming in and out. and the water levels in our wells.
Great, thank you so much. We've made note of those new items. And I would say it's 10:34, so I'd like to maybe just take just a few more. Again, and the reason for the time limit too is, again, I want this to be a quality discussion and I want people to be able to participate. And I feel that once we get too late, we start to lose people who will want to be up at this time to participate. So let's just go ahead and take maybe like another 5 minutes, and then I would like to continue the case to a future meeting.
You can't do that.
Yeah, excuse me, sir.
You can't do that. You can't.
They muted him out. Okay, let's go ahead. The next
person that had submitted to be discussed was Joy Drake, 7 Prospect Drive.
Joy, are you on the call this evening?
This is Steve Drake, her husband. I'm going to take her turn. Is that okay?
Certainly.
That's fine.
Do you swear?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That the testimony you'll be giving this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, and if you would just please state your name and address for the record?
Sure, my name's Steve Drake. I live at 7 Prospect Drive. And first of all, I'd like to thank the commissioners for the time they put in. This is voluntarily. It's amazing what you do. You must really love your community. But we need your help, okay? I'll give you a little background. I moved to this subdivision when I was 4 in 1959. I went to St. Alphonsus School from kindergarten through 8th grade in Prospect Heights. I'm still a member of the parish. I went to Wheeling High School and then to NIU with a degree. I was a fireman for 30 years and also a builder for 14 years. I bring this up because it's kind of relevant for my unique position or perspective on this issue. We went to the meeting Tuesday where Lexington and Nate was there, and he tried his best. It was nice, but it really, for anybody who was there, it didn't really go very well. There was a lot of emotions, a lot of heated people thinking that this was trying to be snuck by them. Is that we really weren't given an ample warning in advance. I know they posted a sign. That's their requirement by law. Unfortunately, the sign is on a dead-end street in front of a vacant building. There's no traffic that goes by it whatsoever. And so we're kind of finding out about these issues last minute. We really haven't had much time, but as I look into things, it keeps getting worse. My concerns are similar to what already has been said, but I'm going to bring up some other stuff. And basically it goes to the pedestrian traffic is what bothers me the most. These kids right now coming from the Wheeling development, the apartments, the condos and the townhomes, whatever they have there, they cut through, they come up Oak, they go around Drake Terrace, around the bend, and they come down Prospect in front of my house, and then they take Maple North to go to the high school. Now we're going to add 69 more homes. That's basically the size, that's basically the population of our subdivision. We're going to double it. We're going to add that many more people walking on our streets. We have no sidewalks like people say. The problem I have with this is that there should have been a solution, and this leads me to my point where I'm not really sure if I trust our city government right now, because we've had sidewalks put in for access down Willow Road for Hersey, down Schoenbeck Road for Eisenhower up to Betsy Ross. We've got stuff going on Wolf Road for something for the metro station. I read the documents about their plans. Nowhere does it mention Wheeling High School. Well, look, there's Prospect Heights residents that have to walk to that school. I went to that school. I know. There's no plans at all for a sidewalk. That creates a dangerous situation in our neighborhood. And now we're talking about doubling it, okay? And not only that, we've got the people coming from Wheeling through it. So I think, first of all, a sidewalk on 83, it's a must. And I would ask Lexington to pay for it. It happens all the time. I told you I was a builder and we used to build homes in the North Shore. When you want a new development, you basically try to solve and mitigate all the problems from the neighbors around you. So another thing is about transparency here and with the government. My wife sent a letter to our alderman, Wendy Morgan, I believe her name is. She sent a letter on March 6th, okay? And she said, "Hi, Wendy. I see you'll be adding 60 new townhomes next to Muir Park, which is right by my neighborhood. Are there any details for this project? Will they be able to tie in a drive to access the access road of the Forum's apartments? Or will all new traffic flow through my neighborhood? Any information you can provide would be great." That was March 6th. On March 8th, Wendy replied, "Hi, Joy. Your questions are very relevant, but premature at this point. The council is waiting for the proposal to approve the engineering studies and investigation, which is a prerequisite. In the event that is completed and approved, we can get a better idea of some of the details." The problem is you look at the winter bulletin and you look under Mayor Helmer's boasting about all the growth in Prospect Heights. This is the winter 2020 bulletin. And he goes on to say this year you will see a fully rehabbed Delhi 4 strip mopping, yada, 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 yada. And he comes down to, and this year you're going to see 60 or more all new townhomes by builders of Rob Roy next to Muir Park on the city's north side. So he's already decided that this is going through and it has to be rezoned. And the alderman is telling us it's premature to worry about whether the access has to go through our neighborhood, that it's too early to talk about that. And that was March 8th. Something's not right here. I'm asking the commissioners here, you're the ones we need to stand up. This is a dangerous precedent. Take a look at the zoning map. This has never been done in the history of this city, not even close. If you look at the zoning map, you can see where R2 is. We know where R2 is, on East Willow. They just want to stick an R2 onto the north end of Prospect Heights, north end of the town, and because they have a vacant property that they want to try to get tax revenue on, is the way I see it. But to do it at the expense of a neighborhood, and this becomes part of our neighborhood now. There's no other way in or out. So all of a sudden, we're going to lower our property values because we have 69 or 61, whatever, townhomes that are connected to it with the increased traffic like the people talked about. So, solutions, there's some solutions. First of all, let me just say, if you don't think that all of the people in our subdivision are against this, I'll get you a petition. We just didn't have time because this was really dumped on us, we think, last minute, even though I know they're going to say they met the requirements, and they did. Okay. Now, not very good in my opinion where they put the sign. They should have put one out by Oak and Drake Terrace with at least sign pointing that there's going to be a hearing on this property. But we'll get the petition if you need it, and it's going to be the vast majority, if not 100%. But I just don't know if the commissioners, understand or care, because I don't think City Hall does, about our reluctance to accept this plan. We're not against development in the city, but we need to know that they're being truthful to us. And and right now, the mayor and our aldermen don't seem to be caring about us. So I'll leave it at that. They could keep the property R1 as it is. They can. That's what it. When that person bought the property, it was R1. It's still R1. You can sell it. They can annex it to Wheeling. And don't worry about it. Now, I know that's like a no-no because they want the tax revenue, but not at the expense of the citizens. So I know it's how you get a little emotional about it, but I've been here a long time. I've been a part of this community. My roots are really deep in Prospect Heights. I'm proud of the city, but not right now. Not what this mayor did. And I appeal to you commissioners. Do what's right.
Well, Steve,
This could be your neighborhood next. I know he wants to grow, but
I assure you, no matter what's been in a newsletter or other sources, I mean, the applicant is, obligated to go through this public hearing process, appear before us, appear before the city council. So, there will be no bypassing the procedure involved to get their application, vetted. So I assure you that myself and all the commissioners will.
I appreciate. I hope you're our last stance. That's the way we feel right now. We feel that City Hall turned their back on us, and it's up to you. I can just appeal to you as a citizen to do the right thing.
Okay, so thank you, Steve. And what I would say is, we've it's 11:15 now. It's getting late. We certainly have the right to continue the case to a future meeting. Our city attorney is on the line if.
I would appreciate that.
But so Jim, again, can you just please validate that we have the authority to continue this case to a special meeting? Again, I just don't want there to be any.
Yes, Commissioner, just so the public is aware, the public hearing at this point is not closed. The public hearing will resume at either a special meeting date or the next regular scheduled PZBA meeting. There is a requirement that notice will be provided to all residents. The city and the PZBA will provide proper notice to all residents so that they will have the ability to appear, present their public comment, and or submit public comment as in the fashion ahead of the meeting as they had to Dan Peterson from the city.
So Jim, I guess I would maybe want to just question, there's no additional public notice required. Like, they are not going to have to resend letters. So I guess I just want to let everyone on the call know that you will not get another letter in the mail. We could certainly put this on the city's website, but
we will repost the property out at the corner.
right, and they'll repost the sign in its current location.
We'll put it at the corner.
Okay, we'll put it at the corner of
with the date.
Drake. Is it Drake and 83 then?
No, Drake
Or
and
Drake. And,
it will get placed at the corner there with whatever date is determined.
right. But one official public notice is all that is required. So, and at this juncture, we'd like to let everybody know that it's our intention to hold a special meeting. So the meeting will be allocated specifically to this case. There'll be no other cases on it. And we're going to do that on Thursday, July 9th. So everybody can mark their calendars. It will
be 7 p.m.
It'll be
same format.
7 p.m. again on Thursday, July 9th. It will be in the same format. We'll be operating virtually under the premise of this Zoom meeting. So again, we can certainly ask if we can put this information on the city's website, but we'll plan on continuing this meeting to.
And Danielle, can I ask you a question, Danielle, on that? Would it help? I mean, would it matter for us to have a petition to show that the whole Drake subdivision or a majority of it is against this idea? Is that important to you commissioners, that it's in writing and we have a petition of some sort? I don't know, but I'm asking you if we'll do that, if that's what if that helps you.
You're welcome to, you're certainly welcome to do that, or put together your thoughts on this project. And then, you can certainly speak again at the next meeting and present additional information. So I think whatever your group chooses to do to provide your thoughts on this comment, is good for.
There's quality of life issues, there's lower property values issues, and
What I would say too, Steve, is, we base our decisions on findings of fact. So what I say is that if you feel that the traffic data that's been provided to us is incorrect in any format, then I would suggest, you could certainly hire a traffic consultant to review that report.
Danielle, it's 112 page. I read it. It's not about the traffic study. It's about do you have the right to just force a subdivision to have the impact of a multi-use family project? Do you have the right?
Any more testimony at this point? I'm just trying to help you guys out. Again, we base our decision on facts. So what may be helpful if you're asking me how to best present information, facts always help. So again, if you're going to go to property values, I suggest you hire an expert or provide information on how you believe this property will negatively affect the property values. So opinions are fantastic and we listen to them, but anytime you can provide data or facts that support your positions, that supersedes certainly just an opinion that I believe, right? So any time you can bring in an expert or a consultant who's qualified to speak to property values, traffic, stormwater, tree preservation, that's always information that is helpful to us. So again, we've gone late tonight. People are getting tired, and I want to make sure this case gets all the attention it deserves, not only from the applicant, but from all of the public. And certainly I expect the board to have a number of questions. It's a ginormous packet of information we got. The list of documents are extensive. There was many hours put into preparing, and I know that between now and the meeting on July 9th, there will be even more preparing by the commissioners and staff to make sure that we have all the information that we need. So Director Peter, do I need to ask for a motion though to?
Just before.
Yes, Chairman, we'd ask for a motion to continue the matter. One of the commissioners to initiate a motion.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this case.
I'll second it.
Machi
and then Janet seconded.
Then before we take the vote, we need to clarify a couple things. This is Director Peterson. This meeting is not being closed or adjourned. It's just being continued to Thursday, July 9th, 7 p.m. It will be in the same format that we have currently, and that would be Zoom. The signage will be placed at Drake, and that we will notify those people who have currently provided emails so that you can share that information with those folks in the area that may not have been here tonight. The login information. It will be posted on the city's website what the login information is, and then any additional comments should be directed to me through my email address that is on the city website, and most of you have this evening. Thank you very much.
Okay, so with the motion, please, Jen, would you do a roll call vote?
Of course. Commissioner Patel. Commissioner Taman.
John, are you still on the line? Go ahead, Jen.
Commissioner Mellon.
Aye.
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner Stewart.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Chairman Dash.
Aye. So again, as Dan stated, this will be continued to July 9th at 7 p.m. Same format as tonight's meeting. Then I would like to move on to our next agenda item, which would just be an update on a previous application, Dan.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Nate. Yes, just a quick update. The full building permits have been issued for Fry the Coop, the Nashville Southern Fried Chicken that was before us a couple months ago. The target is that they're looking to open late summer, fall.
This is done, right?
So that was that update. Additionally, we will be having a regular meeting of the Plan Commission on Thursday, July 23rd. And at that meeting, we have right now 2 cases pending, variation for a residential side yard for a driveway, and then a special use for sit-down restaurant with outdoor seating for the new owners of Nico's at 1421 Rand. Thank you.
Any communications from any of the commissioners this evening? Okay, then with well, thank you to the Lexington folks too. I see you guys are still on. I'd say then if there's no further business, do I have a motion, please, to adjourn our meeting this evening on June 25th, 2020, Planning Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner DeGraff, a second.
I'll make that motion.
And a roll call vote, please, Jen.
Of course. Commissioner Saywert.
Aye.
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Commissioner Taman. And Chairman Dash.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll be seeing everyone on July 9th.